Today is May the 7th, right? The topic is life after high school or public school graduate. Let's meet the panel. This is Sammy, Jeremiah, Freya, Kat, Troy, Chelsea, Lucas, and Marcus. Why don't we start with you guys sharing whatever information you have, and we'll talk about that information, and then I'll show you the information that I have. Who wants to start? Doesn't matter who, just dive right in.
I'll start. Virginia is now ranked this year in 2014, ranked 84% graduate, and we are ranked 16 out of 50 out of the United States.
Oh, in terms of graduating or quality of education? Okay, and that's according to?
That's according to the National Center for Education.
Okay, so that sounds pretty good. Now, we'll talk about her number for a minute. Virginia's graduating 84% of people from high school. Do we know how that rates to the nation?
In the nation, as of 2013, it's 81.4%.
So we're higher than the national averages. That sounds like a pretty promising thing. Now, do we know how those numbers break down? How many girls? How many guys?
According to the Virginia Department of Education, in 2014, 21,607 male high school students graduated with an advanced diploma, while 26,336 female students graduated with an advanced diploma.
Okay, before you go on, now we don't know what the percentage is, but when just reading the numbers, I heard 21 and 26.
Yes.
And was it more females? Because I can't remember now. I'm switching to mine.
There were more females who graduated with an advanced diploma, and there were more males that graduated with a standard diploma.
Oh, okay. All right. Now, we don't know the percent for that, but what else were you going to say? Was that it? Oh, no, that's fine. Okay. So what we're hearing is Virginia is higher than the national average, and when we're looking at advanced diplomas, the girls are edging the guys out. Okay. That's actually also true of regular graduation rates. When they just look at just the guys and just the girls are graduating at a higher rate. They're also going into college at a higher rate than the guys are. Boys are more likely to drop out. Anybody else? Yes, Lucas. What you got? Just share one.
There was one statistic I read that said 1 out of every 2 students that graduate, or never mind, that was from college.
Give us a college one, because we want to know what happens after they get out of high school. So go ahead.
1 out of every 2 students graduating college with a science, technology, engineering, or math degree. Only actually one of them will get hired.
Oh,
1
no.
out of every 2.
Now, that's interesting, because I read another statistic that says if you they call them the STEM subjects.
Yeah.
If you graduate in the STEM subjects, your chance of getting a job is actually higher because the growth rate for those jobs is better, and also your pay rate is better. I will show you all momentarily where if you get a degree, a college degree, in something like psychology or social work or one of the arts, you will only make $1,000 more than a high school graduate. So, as opposed to people who have those STEM certifications, because there's much more of a market for them. Okay. Did anyone see a number about, we're graduating people at a historically high rate, 81-ish% across the country. We've never graduated that many people before in America. Again, Virginia higher than the national average. But did anyone see the statistic about the number of people graduating who are actually prepared for college or the workforce? There's a statistic for that. It's great that we're graduating so many, but are we really doing a good job as schools, according to the numbers?
Yeah, I have one statistic that said 4 out of 10 students reported that they were not fully prepared for college or the workforce.
What was the number? What was the year of that?
I think it was 2012.
Yeah, actually the number is higher than that. The number is 60%. That's 60% of those graduating. Remember, now that's taken public and private, just any school, not being prepared for college. And I think the higher 60 comes from when they don't talk to just the students, but also when they talk to the college professors or the business people that are going in. They're just like, no, these people are not ready for what we wanted them to be able to do. Because when you get to college, when you get to work, there's not a breaking in period. You know, I hired you because I expected you to be able to hit the ground running. You can do this. That's what I'm paying you for. What do you mean you need additional training? Why did I hire you? Okay. Chelsea and Troy, you guys are quiet. What you got?
I don't really have anything to add.
Had you found the same statistics?
Yeah, pretty much. Like,
Speak up because it's not going to be able to hear you.
I had just started on this. I haven't really found anything.
No, you should have typed in the search term. Remember, it was how successful are public school graduates. But nevertheless, we're going to be talking in a minute, so I expect you to jump in and kind of comment on the things that people are saying, even if your statistics find themselves to be repetitive. What you got, Chelsea?
I'm pretty much in the same boat as Troy here, but I did find one article that said in 2005, 40% of American public high school graduates said they are unprepared for college and work.
Okay, so that's that same statistic that Lucas found. It is higher than that. And I'm going to start Marcus and then Freya, and then we're going to talk a little bit about these numbers, why they might be true, what does that indicate about the state of the country. Go, Marcus, what you got?
I don't have anything.
Oh. And will you be listening that you might speak intelligently on what the other people are saying? I hope that you shall. Freya, what you got?
Oh, I just found that, like, most students, like, after high school, they're not really prepared for college or anything, so they have to kind of, like, try and figure out what they want to do until they...
Do you know what I'm trying to remember the number. It's in the 40s. The percentage of people that they graduate from high school, they go into college, and they make it through. Because sometimes the problem with, like, a public school like this is we want you all to graduate. Because I want you to be able to go to college, but we didn't think to the end of that train and think we want you to be able to graduate from college and not just go. And I think the number was 48%. So we're not even hitting 50% of people that can push it through and make it through to college. Not just the academic skills that they need, but the maturity, the independence, the problem solving, those sorts of things. Do you know where to go to for help? Are you courageous enough to consistently ask for help? Those kinds of things that we call in the affective domain. Okay, we threw out a lot of numbers. Let's zoom out and you guys can talk a little bit before I show you a couple of more statistics. If we're graduating more people than we've ever graduated before, what should that indicate about the citizens of our country? We should all be more what? Maybe smarter. We're anticipating that this is a country that's smarter, maybe more well-informed, right? We've at least got some common sense, or we're a little bit aware of what's happening. Do you all feel as though that's true of our country? Tell me, that's a resounding no. Tell me why we think that. Say it one more, say it again. Okay. Why do we think that's not true? You're saying no, we're not a smarter, more aware, more well-informed country. Tell me why you think that.
Oh, like, wait, what was the...
Why do you say that we're not better off or a smarter or more well-informed country, despite the fact that we're graduating more people than we ever have?
Well, there's just a lot of stupid things that Americans still do, like, and we did drop the grading scale, so then it'll be easier for people to...
Okay, Troy's getting us into the sinister side of playing with numbers, where we wanted to look more impressive internationally, so we reduced the scale so that we could say more people were hitting the bar. Okay, we're starting to manipulate the numbers. What else, Lucas? You were about to say something.
Now we're all about technology. So you might not be as smart as you say you are, but you can go to Google and find the answers.
Oh, that's true.
So,
That could be a good thing or a bad. And here's the problem. I wish people would do that. Instead, that as a teacher, I'm confronted with people who don't know anything and won't even Google it. Like, what do you do? Because sometimes the problem with technology is it produces a certain laziness where you're not even going to try.
Yeah, you're just not really implying yourself into like what's going on in the real world. That's kind of what's going on now because we're so involved with what's going on with social media, and that's where we get a lot of false news.
Yeah.
I've noticed that a lot, but at the same time, it's kind of good because odds are you can go on Facebook or whatever and find out news before it's even on the news.
So there is an upside to social media,
There is
certainly.
a little bit of an upside, but at the same time, there's all that false stuff that's going around too. So you can't really know what's reliable and what's not reliable. And
You can. You got to check, but you have to. It is harder.
it is hard.
It's a lot harder.
So I just feel like we're not really applying ourselves. We're just trying to get through high school just so we can go and get out and just be an adult, be independent and whatever, and try to get by as best we can, and we're not applying ourselves very well.
Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Because first we're going to talk about just you all's experiences in general, and then we're going to zoom out and talk a little bit about the school system in America, public school system. Why might it be making these types of mistakes? What's the motive behind that? You talked about one thing people look forward to is being independent. Do you all know the age that the social scientists say people are staying at home till?
21.
I think it might have actually dropped because it used to be about 7 years ago, the age was 35.
Are you kidding?
The average age that people were staying at home, especially at the very beginning of the economic downturn, was 35. And it's not because they were lazy. It's because they simply could not get work that paid them enough to support themselves to live independently. So that, you got to know that. You're headed into a world where the average age of staying at home is 35. Now, again, that will depend on your area. You see what I'm saying? Like maybe in some more, if you live in a city where the cost of living is very high, you might end up staying home longer. Don't move to California, by the way. Their cost of living is so high. I had a friend who, when she was going through grad school at UCLA, couldn't afford her own apartment. So she had worked out a deal with the landlord of her friends where she was paying $500 a month to sleep in their living room. She didn't get her own room. She, if they were nice, she could use the bathroom, but it was $500 just to be on the couch. So you really got to be mindful of where you're trying to live. I know, that's a lot. So now, I'm going to go back. If 60% of students are not ready for high school, for college or the workforce, that's saying something about the type of education they receive. So, look back in your past, in your memory. Have y'all really had teachers that were that bad?
Yes.
Oh, no. So, Sammy says yes. What about you, Jeremiah?
I agree.
Oh, no. Freya?
Yeah, I think I have.
Okay, a lot or just a few?
I mean, just like 2 or 3.
Oh, no,
Okay,
a lot.
okay, you've had a lot. You've only had a few. What about a lot or a few, Kat? What are we looking at? That's a few. Okay, well, that's promising. What about you,
I
Troy?
don't think I had any
That's
bad teachers.
that's excellent. Okay, you've had a real good education experience. What you got, Chelsea?
I'm suffering through one now. Not like right now, but later on today. Terrible teacher.
Oh, I'm sorry. Lucas, good, bad?
Just a few.
Just a few. Marcus, good, bad? Just a few? Just a few. Okay, so it sounds like we only have a few bad teachers. That's promising. I'm so happy because the last class told me that all their teachers were terrible, and I was like,
I've had my fair share.
okay. So what is that? How could we have this many bad teachers? What's happening? What's going on?
Teachers just don't care nowadays.
They don't care, but are you sure that they started out that way? I can't imagine anyone walking out of a school where they went to become a teacher and they went, well, I'm just going to go into a profession for the next 30 years. Well, I just won't care. That's their attitude? What happens to them? What must have made them not care?
Teenagers.
Possibly. So,
Stress.
oh, what do they have to do, Jeremiah?
They have to they're so caught up with the email and stuff. Like, I know it because I have a parent who's a teacher and she has to go to these meetings. She has to take care of portfolio. She has to go through emails, grade papers. They often do that. So,
It sounds like there's a lot involved in teaching that doesn't have anything to do with actual teaching. And more, that's taking up the teacher's attention. Now, you all should know that. How many people know someone who's had to take the same 1, 2, 3 SOLs over and over and over and over again until you pass it, right? So it sounds like the education world is focusing on tests. Why? Do you know why? Do you have any idea why?
Because they think it's
Say again, Kat, I'm sorry.
To make themselves look better.
Right, it's a numbers game. Yeah.
That's what I was going for. I was going to say it's all about the numbers. They think that testing gives you the baseline when there are a lot of people who really suck at testing, myself being one of them. And I struggle with testing, and a lot of people do. I'm in that boat. But for them to say that testing is the only way to test your intelligence and knowledge of the, subject, I don't agree with it.
It's a little absurd to me.
It is.
Okay, I'm going to pause this for a